Good morning, everyone. So everybody happy? Market's moving up quite nicely this morning. So we don't usually look at the internals day to day, but I thought it was appropriate since the market was gapping up as much as it is. And anytime the markets make a move like they have, we look at the internals. Now, these are as of yesterday. But this is what we rely on, looking rather than just the price action. We look at the internals to see, in a sense, is there any gas in the tank here? Is there something left here, or is this at a point in time where prices have moved? Traders and investors have already jumped on the board on the train, so to speak, and they're all in, and just ready to, the gap up is at a point where they are, over excited and just adding more and more, and it's bound to come in. So the two at the top here are the main ones that I use the majority of the time, and breadth and sentiment. And so you can see sentiment is essentially neutral. This is a moving average of the day to day, and being at this level, this little corrective action here, first of all, as it got down to a bullish extreme down here, and then the comments by the Fed chair over here that they would entertain the lowering of interest rates got the markets ripping higher. Well, when they did that, there were days like right at the top right there where the option traders started loading the boat on calls. And so, I made everybody aware of that in the green room, and then they were into it again on this day. And that led to this sideways corrective action, which we discussed yesterday as being bullish. As we look at different markets, we could see, I think it was the NASDAQ that was in alignment with that. It was going sideways there. And a run up of multiple bars in a row, whether you're looking at a 5-minute chart or a daily chart, you interpret it the same way. Went sideways rather than pull back. So traders, investors were willing to step up after the run up. Now, sentiment wasn't at an extreme then. It's not at an extreme now. We'll see where these numbers lay out at the end of today to see how far it moves us up. But this is saying that, there is a disbelief about what's happening. And so that's a good thing as far as the ability to continue to go higher. And since some markets are moving up to new all-time highs, there's no resistance above. So we look for possibly whole numbers. But the other thing to look for is the markets that are not at new all-time highs or at resistance, to see, are they playing catch up? What happens when they reach resistance? So looking at other markets that have underperformed and seeing what they do at resistance can give us some clues as to what these stronger markets will do. But once these internals come into alignment, well, historically, we know that odds are at least the market's going to correct a bit from there. And we just assess, well, how far do they correct? So breadth is finally got to an initial part of an extreme. However, without sentiment in alignment with it, we have to discount this. And it can go higher, up to 200 and even above. Doesn't go too much above, whereas on the downside, it can historically get down to like a minus 300, 320-ish. But on the upside, it typically doesn't go that far. So the thing is to look for whether this is at an extreme and whether sentiment is at an extreme together. And historically, we know that the market upside momentum is going to slow at a minimum and maybe even pull back more so from that. So these longer term measures still tell us that the market has some gas in the tank to go higher. So that helps our bias quite a bit. That doesn't mean that we want to purchase here on a gap up where the Dow is, gapping up here. The futures anyway are gapping up 230 some odd points. NASDAQ's gapping up 110 points. But it doesn't say that the world or this move up is over based on that gap up. is very likely to be profit taking on the gap up, and then we'll assess what happened. So some measures as to when that might happen. Well, it could happen in the first 5 minutes, right? We just don't know. But if the markets continue to go up, then we look for reversal periods. So 10 o'clock historically, and then 10:30. So at that point in time, as intraday traders, if the market is trending higher and at 10 o'clock it maybe slows and it goes higher, then we look to 10:30 and so on. So from a swing trading point of view, this gap up at a minimum would say, why don't you move your stops up to yesterday's low, then reassess what's happening today. And then tomorrow, when we do the pre-market review, and those in the green room, we'll assess this at midday to see what happened in the morning. But initially, these internals are saying that there's gas in the tank to go higher. So then we'll just see how things unfold here today. S&Ps are slightly up here, making a new all-time high, pushing above these highs. And one of the things that I look at here, just patterns, right? We're price pattern traders, is to potentially say is, well, this is a possibility because this is the kind of move that is occurring here. Is to say, if I take this, sometimes we get a measured move and the little corrective action there, and just kind of project that up, and wow, it puts it all the way up above 3,000. So we'll see how that unfolds, but sometimes this works out quite well as a measurement as to, here's the first start of the move. And we could say, well, it started from the bottoming tail bar, but still puts it above 3,000. So something that we'll consider. We'll see how far this goes at the end of the day. And and another thing to take a look at here is putting things in perspective. What is the normal trading range on any given day? So this bar, being the futures, is telling us from when it started trading again last night, this range is quite large. So the upside potential today, just based on the day-to-day action, this is a gigantic bar. So if we were to say, what is the most extreme bar, and that would be this one, and how much further could it go? Well, that could be a guide, right? This one's a little bit bigger. And the point being that this bar isn't likely to double in size from here. So, a little logic as to where things are at, where they have been historically, and what's possible within those historical norms. That kind of gives us a guide as to, the average range on the day. Now, here it was much smaller where things were hardly moving, and here is where there was the momentum. So, again, the upside from this point, just isn't that big, just based on historical norms. So keep that in mind. If you're ready to jump on board here, something now, individual stocks. I think the ones like the 1, 2, 3s that we looked at yesterday, the ones that closed under their open, I think could have the greatest potential since, they weren't running up already. But we'll see how that all plays out. Qs, right? Similar story. They haven't reached the all-time high yet, but this may have the greatest potential, even though, to move today from a short-term perspective, because it underperformed, right? So it brought up the rear this time versus leading it. So maybe, even though this range is relatively large already, maybe it's going to push up toward this 4,900 level. So, so you can see the hourly charts moving up here. Momentum, still a lot of time left in this hourly bar to complete itself. But just looking at this bar, you can see it went sideways for 3 hours. It broke out with a little topping tail right there. I call it a minor topping tail, not what I call, doesn't jump out at me as being a topping tail because it didn't retrace more than halfway into the range. But this could be the start of a breakout bar failure. And what that would play out as being, by the time this hour would be over, this would be an inside bar, and then it would break below the low of that. So that could be, what time is it now? 9:16. So 30 minutes from the open would bring that at around 10 o'clock. If this hasn't made any headway to new all-time highs by 10 o'clock, and then it starts coming in on a new bar, that probably would be the start of a retracement at a minimum within this uptrend. So something else to keep in mind. Dow futures pushing up to, well, up above these highs, not up to a new all-time high yet, but it's within striking distance, that's for sure. And again, the range here is, well, smaller than that range a couple of days ago. And, well, not quite as big as this one yet, and certainly not as big as that one. So I would say that that has a little room to grow. So, and bonds, interesting, moving up, pushing up here. Market could care less. Whereas in May, right, that was very bearish. So bonds continuing to push up here, up into, I got a little room to get up to that 158-ish area there to push up. So keep an eye on that, which means TBT is moving down. But when I say the market doesn't care, right, breaking down through that support. And it's something that traders will be keeping an eye on to see if these yields do continue to drop. Oil made its bottom here and it's moving up. It's got room to continue to move higher, so that looks good. That's a plus. And one of the things I spoke about in the room yesterday, where things were looking a little shaky, when bonds started to rip higher, oil wasn't dropping. So that was a neutralizing factor. Oil was dropping and bond prices were going up. Theoretically, the market would have went down, but it didn't, and it held there. And then after a while of churning and churning, buyers stepped up there into the close. Gold breaking out here above this long-term resistance, which is super bullish for it. We'll see where this ends up here, but you could see the multiple year consolidation and wide range bar. So same interpretation. This bar is bigger than any of the bars here. So the upside at this point, it hit 1400 or thereabouts. Just a logical place for it to stall its upside move here. And let's see what sellers can do, how much this consolidates. But especially at the end of the week here, if the weekly bar can close up near this high like that, right, gold has got to be something that we all have to consider as a intermediate term position, since it's got this huge void up above. And what else shall we look at here? Semiconductors, they started bringing up the rear yesterday. They're actually kind of flat here. So, they've been affected a lot by the China trade war rhetoric. It'd be a good thing to see semiconductors take out this high here as the market moved up and see that they begin to participate a bit more. Russell moving up here to 156. So nice move here pre-market, but right into this prior pivot high there. So this is all good. Improvements in the market after this decline. From a short-term perspective, jumping on board here at the open on things that have moved up into resistance historically doesn't make a lot of sense. And transports just don't move much pre-market. So, but what we're going to want to look for is to see if they can clear this 200 and move up toward this price resistance area and get out of this range here today. And that would be another positive. So overall, things looking good. We'll see how the markets handle this this gap up here. And so that's what we do. We'll check it out. We'll see how things unfold over the first half hour or so, and then where they're at the end of the day to give us some clues as to whether buyers want to continue stepping up here into next week even. All yours, Dan.
All right, sounds good. Yeah, I'm glad we we are very, very loaded to the long side, and that's just because we're silly chart readers. You know, we held into the announcement, we added after, and let's go through opens here. AMD here, actually, I like this as a, you know, it's a deep retracement, but it's kind of a 1, 2, 3, like we talked about in MT Live yesterday, even though there's a tail there. I interpret it the same. Weekly options traders, Triple M, we entered yesterday, and you can add over the highs. Adobe, we have a put spread on earnings gap. Shop, somebody's asking. No, you know, we had a beautiful entry yesterday. I wouldn't chase it here. UNH, put spread yesterday, looks good. Lyft, put spread. Amgen, put spread. And I'll be, like I said, tightening stops here on the big gap up. Tilray, put spread. So those are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 bullish open trades in the weekly. Let's look at the swing and options trader now. Tilray, oh no, I posted this wrong yesterday. Tilray is not in the swing letter. CRCM, we're actually short stock. Bro, we added long stock into the close. Hilton, long stock into the close. Lyft, we're long stock and a put spread, and you can add over the highs. That's a 1, 2, 3. AVY, long stock. I moved the stop to yesterday's low. Kim, longer term trade. Core trade looks good. Cody, long stock. AIG, long stock. Papa Mike, a covered put, and it's gapping down, which is what we want. So that's weakness in a strong market. Makes it more weak. FND, long stock. I saw one print up here of 44 bucks. If it gaps up there, we're going to be selling it, but it's like volume, so you don't know if it's real. Roku, we have a covered call. Wow, we have a lot of positions. Synaf, we're long stock. Mohawk, covered call. Triple W, we're short stock, and I've tightened the stop to break even. BBBY, we're short stock, and this thing still can't bounce even with a huge market gap up. QGen, long stock. If that's, I see a little print there at 41.38. Travelers, covered call. All right, so that's it. Well, I say that's it tongue in cheek. That's a lot of positions. All right, Honeywell, we have a 1, 2, 3 I posted, so that'd be a 5-minute high, or we'll watch a pullback. This thing's anything red in a strong market is weak. That was a small Bear Island reversal yesterday. Look at that big old upside shakeout. Big gap down to 15. USO, yeah, USO looks higher. Let's scan the oil patch today. Gold, obviously. We can scan the gold patch too when we have time. NVIDIA, I posted as a put spread. AOBC, 986, gap in resistance, and I'm deleting you, got no interest. MEI, slopping around pre-market. Gap into these prior lows, maybe a 30-minute low. Yeah, semis too, absolutely. No, wait, there's many bullish things. I mean, look at all the bullish patterns we're in right now that have been outperforming the broader markets. Kroger here had a wild ride this morning. Look at that. Wow, look at that percent change pre-market. This thing was up here at 26, and now it's down here. Wow, that's volatile. CMC 1680, but I got no interest in that. Carnival had earnings and getting whacked. The gap's too big, and so I always look at his cousin. NCL 5166, no pattern there. Win, I like as a put spread, a little 1, 2, 3 from a reverse head and shoulders. HEI. This might be earnings. I was scanning the military sector also. Nothing to do with that. But yeah, I think that was earnings. Twilio, I just saw as a nice gap breakout to all-time highs. Let's watch this McGraw for a put spread. And GLD we talked about. Sina 43, gapping out of, well, no, never mind. It's not gapping out of it. It's still a bottoming pattern. It's just gapping resistance. Kook 40, oh, that's an ugly gap in Kook, but no setup. Echo Lima, you know, it's breaking out to all-time highs. SYK we had on our list yesterday. OMCL breaking out. Look at this, a reverse heading. Look at that. It's a reverse heading shoulders on the weekly. Beautiful. And multiple time frame analysis. Your entry was, you know, the last 2 days. CDNS, it's strong, but no entry, so I'm just deleting you. DRI, what? Yeah, I was going to say it was getting whacked hard this pre-market. No setup. Oracle, 56 bucks, nice big old gap. It's a buy on a pullback. XEL from yesterday, nice closed, all-time highs. GIS, I like this deep 100% retracement and engulfing. Breaking out here to 1, 2, 3 on the weekly. I like that one. Let's see, we got to be a lot more careful on new longs, but this is a candidate for me. AEP is also, look at that beauty. All-time highs. Look at this dog. Hey, McGraw, do you have a dog? What's the saying? That this dog don't hunt? That's what this is. Look at this. KSS does not want to hunt. That's just a dog going slower. McGraw told me yesterday he bought 200 shares of this on the gap up, and I remember telling him, like, that's a big gap up, man. That's and then he's up $3,000 and with 200 shares. Look at that. Look at that crazy move. Man, look at that move. And now it's gapping up again, another 15 bucks. That is crazy. Beyond, I have this on my bear call credit spread. I will short you one day. On WTR, I posted over the highs. That's a new long candidate because of the way it's been going sideways. And I think I'm done with 1 minute to spare. Look at fiber turns sloppy, chewy, sloppy. Devon, this was on my retest oil bullish list. It's gapping up. Still has some room. Tesla got a downgrade. Anything, again, gapping down. I looked at this as a possible call spread candidate, but I need more information. What perfect timing of my quick review. I am done. Now I'm looking to see if we have any big old gift gappers. AVY. Let's just sell it. I'm just selling a third in the strength. And I'm just going to, you know, kind of give some arbitrary rules here today, just because I have so many opens. Sell a third and stop a 30-minute low for now.